popcorn. We are two niggas spoiling movies. Yeah. Brandon Collins, that's me, and Justin Brown for your movie needs. Media popcorn. Woo! You haven't seen it, well, we're gonna spoil it. Spoil it in your face. That's your warning. So if you get pissed, it's all your fault. Woo-hoo. Woo-hoo.
Little biscuits and sun-dried tomatoes. It's your boy Eddie Collins.
Guys, and this is Justin Brown.
And we are Medium Popcorn, but you already knew that because you saw our logo, you heard our theme song, that you push play, baby. And oh boy, we have a big humdinger for y'all today. Madam Web. It's been a long time coming, directed by S.J. Clarkson, starring infamously Dakota Johnson, Sydney Sweeney, Isabella Merced, Celeste O'Connor, and in the worst comic book villain of all time performance, Tahar Rahim, who will probably unfortunately never work in this town again. It's such a bad performance. Like the ADR and like the lack of mouth movement and coordination. It's one of the worst villains I've ever seen. It's definitely by far the worst comic book film villain I've ever seen.
Fair.
And we've seen a lot of terrible superhero movies for the podcast and also personally. But Justin, before we even get into the plot of this fucking shit show of a movie, and mind you, folks, this is the continuation of that Sony Spider-Man-less spin-off movies that they're doing.
Spider-Verse. The Spider Crap verse.
It just continues to get worse and worse. But here's the thing. This somehow got worse the second time I saw it. The first time I saw it was in the theater. It was a few weeks after opening weekend. I think it was like the Tati and I saw it before we came back to New York. When we were in LA for like a week or so like that. We had some time before our flight in the evening, and so we caught this movie. And I remember it was at least entertaining because people in the audience, including us, were laughing so much that it was like a fun community experience. But when you watch this at home in your basement on Netflix, it's a pain. It's horrible.
Bad.
It's so bad. And I've said this on previous episodes before. Dakota Johnson has been shoved down our throats by the Hollywood decision makers to the point where this was a long time coming. Like this kind of movie, Epic Burn Out, was a long time coming because she doesn't contribute anything in a positive way to any films I've seen her. And she seems to like kind of have this ironic, like, isn't this crazy that we're making a movie kind of vibe? Like, but nothing about the way that she plays Cassie. Cassie is apparently supposed to be so likable that everyone knows her, but annoying enough where people can't stand her or like she makes things awkward. I'm like, you can't have it both ways. You can't have someone who's incredibly likable, but then literally stops conversations in mid flow because she says something weird.
Yeah.
That's literally what they did at that baby shower.
So I don't even know where to start with this.
I know. I have 3 pages of notes.
I didn't take any notes. I just watched this and was like, oh God. But just to speak about Dakota Johnson, obviously Don Johnson's daughter. So this is nepotism at its finest. The thing is, I don't think that she is a strong actress at all.
No, not at all. For sure.
Like I'm talking about like she shouldn't be doing this. But it's not, and I'm not even gonna say that she shouldn't be doing this just because she's not a strong actress. There's a lot of, dog shit actresses who are out there working, and it is what it is. And actors and actresses, not to say it's just women, but I honestly feel like she doesn't respect acting. That's what I get from seeing the projects that she's been in and how she operates, because it seemed to me like she gave zero fucks about this film. and it was so apparent and so like kind of blatant the way that she played this character that it's kind of maddening because there are so many people who would have worked their ass off for even if this is a
Mm.
bad movie for this character, and she was just like, fuck it, I don't care, like this is stupid. It's almost like this entire movie she was just saying, this is stupid, this is stupid,
It
this is
felt very much like a popular girl that's being forced to do something by her people, by her team, and she really didn't want to. Like it seemed like it would have been miserable being on set with her, and
yeah.
she's number one in call sheet, so she has all the power, but like none of the charisma, none of the star power. Because they've also been trying to, like, when I say they've been shoving her down our throats, it's not just like she gets these random leading performances. Um, but also they've been trying to like make her look sexy, like the 50 Shades of Grey movies. Her openings, the first time I remember seeing her on Social Network, they showed her ass, which is non-existent. It looked like a fucking Pringle package. I'm like, what is happening here? And this movie, like, and it's not all her fault. I will say that the director, I don't know what happened with S.J. Clarkson on this. Like, that was a shit show. And then the writers, these writers, I don't know why Sony kept hiring them. These are the niggas, Matt Sazama and Burke Sharpless, two of the four writers. They're the dudes that wrote Morbius, The Last Witch Hunter, Dracula Untold. Like they do not have a good track record. They wrote Morbius, and Sony was like, "All right, guys, I'm gonna get y'all again."
Got another one for you.
Like this movie is, mind you, Madam Web is a very obscure Spider-Man character.
Extremely obscure.
She's like fucking what's Oracle for Batman with like
A little bit.
she's
Yeah.
like that for Spider-Man kind.
Yeah.
It's a really weird character to center a whole movie around.
Yeah.
And and then what makes it even worse is that they hint at these Spider Girls and they showed the future incarnation of them, which looked terrible. Like old girl's afro looked absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, that's the best y'all could do for black makeup in this movie, y'all.
But Celeste O'Connor.
I wrote that down. They're all okay. Before like everyone's like, oh, you guys are being creepy, whatever. All these actresses are in their early to mid 20s, so they are adults. I wrote down all three of them.
Isabella Merced, she's 22 years old.
Yeah, I wrote down like I wrote down specifically for Isabella Merced. I'm like, she's gonna be a problem in about 5 years.
Hmm.
Once like these young women get like to a point where they actually look like adult women versus playing teenagers and stuff, they're gonna all three be like a huge problem. Sydney Sweeney obviously is her own star and stuff, but
I'm going to tell you right now, not Celeste O'Connor, because she's a black woman in the business. They're not going to give her as much burn as the other two, but the other two are going to do very well for themselves.
well, Celeste O'Connor, the unfortunate thing for her is that this is a really bad performance, and it's not helped with the script. Like they make her just the angry black girl for
Yeah.
no reason. She's just snapping on people. She's just incredibly rude, and you're like,
So,
what?
with that being said, and if I am, and I know I started it off by just basically just shitting on Dakota Johnson as a professional, but to your point, I wonder if she read, because there have been, there's been a lot of rumors and talk about this film, and one of the talk was that she was told that she's going to be in a Marvel film, but it was never explained that she's going to be in association with Marvel film, this crapshoot offshoot of Marvel. And so all of these people assumed that they were going to be a part of the big MCU picture. And then they were kind of
Yep.
honeydicked into this film, but by the time they already accepted it's too late. Now, then she probably read the script and, yada, yada, yada. And she's just like, what the fuck is this? Because if she felt that she got honey dick, and then she's just like, you know what, fuck this fucking film, and then that could also very much so, and I would understand, kind of affect how much time and energy somebody gives to a film like this,
But you
especially
still gotta do the work.
feeling tricked. But when it really comes down to it, this is only the person who's really going to get hurt by this is you, because you're the face of this thing.
Mm-hmm.
You're the top billing, and you're the person that you're the person that they're going to see on camera every single time somebody goes onto whatever fucking streaming app and watch this thing over and over and over again. It's just like, also, this is going to hurt your bottom line, because if this is trash, the next time somebody's looking for movies like Dakota Johnson, did you see Madam Web? Why would they want to hire you off of this? So, like, and with that being said, just take a step away from Madam Web for a second and just talk. I just want to speak to like people who are aspiring to be in this business. You need to bring your A game and do the work for whatever you're giving, however bad it is. Like, yeah, it's trash. It's like, at least try to do make it serviceable enough as far as your performance, so that somebody could be like, well, you know what, this thing was trash, but that dude or that chick really did what they were supposed to do as an actor or as a professional. Because Dakota Johnson has been dragged around because of this, and rightfully so. But she also did not do herself any favors with her performance in this film.
And also the press run.
Yes.
She made it seem like, oh yeah, I know it's gonna be bad, like, and it's trash, and I don't really care, and like she was asked questions about Spider-Man movies and stuff, and she was just like all over the place, and her responses. I think I found it in yeah, when she was asked, she was unable to name any of the past 3 Spider-Man films correctly. Instead, listen to them as follows: Spider-Man, Here He Comes; Spider-Man, and He's Back; and The Goblet of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
She just didn't do the work to being number 1 on the call sheet. And that probably did have a top-down effect on a lot of people and stuff. I mean, this movie just wasn't it. And Sony, they keep pushing back Kraven the Hunter, apparently because someone at Sony said it's because they expect around the holidays for people to like Kraven the Hunter so much that they're going to have repeat viewings. And I'm like, okay, sure. There's just no way that they saw this. Like, even the first cut is always really rough of a film.
Yeah.
But even after the 5th cut, if this is what they got, like, as a final cut, holy shit, they knew that they had trash.
Yeah.
Because the whole thing falls apart very quickly. The whole movie is revolved that to the catalyst of this is Cassie's mom was apparently when she was pregnant with Cassie, who's Dakota Johnson's character, she was in fucking Peru searching for this very rare spider that she finds immediately. She finds that shit immediately, grabs it in a jar. The dude who's supposed to be like helping her on this journey, who's played by Tahar Rahim, Ezekiel Sims, immediately turns on her, shoots all the people around her, shoots her after she refuses to give up the spider. She is then taken by these spider village people who like essentially move around like Spider-Man because they've been bitten by the special spiders. They take her into this Lazarus pit of sorts where she gives birth to Cassandra. Then they somehow, even though she dies, they somehow are like, Cassandra's from America, and they ship her to America where she grows up in the foster system and stuff. But the catalyst for what?
How'd she get back?
I mean, we'll talk about that. The whole traveling aspect of this movie is batshit crazy. So Cassandra is in America. She now is a paramedic. No, she's a
she's a
is a paramedic. Yeah, that's her role. Paramedic in New York City. And the whole cast that pushes this story forward, besides her getting in an accident when she's saving a patient, and it causes her to have these like weird.
Well, she has a near-death experience.
Yeah,
she's saving somebody, and their car is like kind of dangling over the bridge, and she, for some reason, gets inside the car next to the guy. The guy gets taken out, and then the car falls over with her in it, and then she basically almost drowns. Her partner, Adam, played by Adam Scott, who's also Uncle Ben from the Spider-Man universe. So this is very Spider-Man adjacent because Spider-Man's mom is in this. It's fucking crazy.
Played by Emma Roberts.
yeah, all of that comes to play in that she when Uncle Ben brings her back from basically near death because he's like you were dead for almost like 3 minutes.
3 minutes, yeah.
Yeah. She then it basically awakens her latent powers at her Madam Web powers is basically she can see the future, so she has precognition power.
Which is insane because okay, there's no way, like, there's no reason why that was the triggering thing for her and these powers, quote unquote. Even though, I guess because she was born in like that weird Lazarus pit, and the dude was like, uh, what did he say? He was like, she will, she will come back when she needs answers. Like, just terrible voiceover. More like a bunch of people with accents, and for some reason they do ADR where they sound like AI men. Um, my whole thing with that scene when she woke up from being like almost drowned was how the fuck did Ben get her on that high platform under the bridge?
Thank you.
There's
Thank you.
First of all, like the fact that they would be under that bridge with no other like police officers or doctors or anything, it's completely insane. Also, they're crazy
Did he
high.
just jump off the fucking bridge to save her? Did he jump off the bridge into the water to fucking save her and pull her out of a car and then drag her to the side and then up a fucking stone to give
Yeah.
like what is going on?
I was just like, this doesn't make any logistical sense. This is completely insane. Cassie's dead.
Yeah,
Cassie's dead.
she gone. She gone. She
Yeah.
down. So, but also, Brandon, you mentioned that like she was born in the Lazarus pit. The spider bit her mother, but didn't save her. Why wouldn't it have saved her though? And then I guess that venom went to Cassie, who was is her name Cassie?
Yeah. Cassandra.
Yeah. It went to
Last
her.
name Webb, by the way.
Yes, last name Webb.
Fucking idiot.
So the powers went to her, even though how would it have reached her that fast, considering that she was born like 2 seconds later? That venom wouldn't have had the time to circulate through her blood to actually reach the fetus that fast. So that's insane. But Brandon, I just want to point out, and this is the kind of shit that this is why Fox ain't shit for this fucking crazy Spider Verse and some of the
Sony.
Sony. I'm sorry, not Fox, but it's kind of the same thing. Sony ain't shit for this kind of bullshit that they've been doing. Is they're in Peru, right?
Mm-hmm.
The dude that comes to save her. Why are they all white people?
Well, that one actor's from Narcos Mexico.
Yeah. They just found the most white presenting people.
Yeah, for sure, yeah. It's all white like all white people. Yeah,
why is he speaking English?
That's what I said. Yes.
What? Why do they have these weird Spider-Man esque crap shoot Spider-Man thing suits that they're kind of wearing as they're jumping through the fucking trees? And now, mind you, all of this predates Spider-Man because Spider-Man born at the end of this fucking film. He's born at the end. I'm sorry. I'm starting to rant. I'm gonna calm myself down.
This is less a rant. This is just more you getting like upset and blowing steam out your ears.
It's because like this.
But remember, you black. You gotta calm down. Just you got high blood pressure. You're predisposed to the sugars.
True. That's not the sugars though.
It could turn into the sugars.
Pressure pushing down on me, pushing down on you as I talk to my heart. This is I just think that it's just one of those things where Sony just believes that we'll just take anything. They obviously didn't do any due diligence to like it doesn't feel authentic. No. The acting doesn't feel authentic. It's just like there's so many things that are wrong with this film. And when you start looking, see, before we started filming, we briefly spoke about the film. We were just like, how is this worse on a second watch? The reason it's worse on a second watch is because the first time around you saw, okay, this is a bad film. The second watch, you start seeing all the little things that also make it bad. I can't watch this for a third time because I think my head would implode because I'll see more.
I mean, like I said, the first time I got to see this in a communal experience, so like we were all suffering together. Whereas the second time, I'm suffering by myself because Tati's not gonna watch the shit again, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, because I remember it being bad, but I was like, let me watch it again just to confirm that it's as bad as I thought, and it was actually worse. I mean, Cassie having that moment, with her mom's research at her house before the events that caused her powers to surface and stuff, where she's like, "I hope the spiders were worth it, Mom." I'm like, first of all, if you grew up in the foster system, they gave you the materials from your mom. Like that doesn't usually happen. Like, just none of that made sense. But again, the whole catalyst, I didn't even get to the big catalyst that brings Cassie together with the Spider Girls and everything like that. Ezekiel Sims, who captured the rare spider, he got bit by it, so now he has these Spider-Man abilities and stuff. He keeps having a dream where the Spider Girls, Spider Woman, when they're older in the future, they kill him. They beat the shit out of him. They show up at his apartment or whatever the fuck. They beat the shit out of him and throw him out a window. Mind you, he has Spider-Man like powers himself, and so he's crawling upside down and running around. So him falling out of a building shouldn't kill him. So the whole catalyst behind the villain doing what the villain's doing doesn't even hold water. On top of that, he doesn't take 1 second to think, hey, maybe the reason why they're trying to kill me is because I'm right now trying to kill them because I want to prevent the future, but maybe that future won't happen if I don't fucking try to kill them. Like
Yeah.
he doesn't once like consider that at all. Even in Lost, they did that shit with the time travel. They were like, hey, because there's a season where they keep hearing about this incident that like changed everything, right? And at one point, they're trying to prevent the incident, and this dude is like, hey, did y'all ever think what we're doing right now is the incident? Because it's like all time travel shit.
Yeah.
And so he's like, what we're doing right now is
creating the incident.
and that's what ends up happening. It's like they actually end up creating what's known as the incident, and it's fucking nuts. And so I'm like, his whole plan is stupid, and we're supposed to believe that. So I think Cassie, again, this goes to Dakota Johnson's performance. Cassie is supposed to be an incredibly likable person. She might be awkward in regards to like getting accolades, like when she has that little patient, the young girl that like thanks her for saving her and stuff like that. I get it, but that with a better actress, that could have been handled like in a lot more endearing, self-deprecating moment versus
Yes.
Dakota Johnson just being kind of like too cool for school and being like, oh, this weird kid.
Yeah, I'm a dick. That's and that's how it came off. It's like, oh, okay, this person's a dick.
That's why it was like when she's walking to the barbecue, when she's walking to the baby shower, right? For Mary Parker, played by Emma Roberts or whatever, right?
Said Emma Stone.
Yeah, you did say Emma Stone, you weirdo. That's the other Sony bullshit.
Yeah.
The Amazing Spider-Man stuff. Man, they shit the bed with those movies. Anyways, she's walking by and everyone's like, "Hey, Cassie," and she's like, "Hey, blah blah blah," and then immediately comes upon Mike Epps, who's apparently their boss, and she's like, "Are you pushing the burgers?" I'm like, she just immediately became full Karen, and she's only been at this barbecue for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
But everyone's supposed to be like, "Hey, we like Cassie." I'm like, no one likes Cassie.
Yeah.
Also, did you get the vibe that she actually liked Ben?
Yes.
And they never explored that.
Yeah. It really came across like her and Ben used to fuck.
Or that she definitely wants to like be with Ben. For
100%.
sure. And he probably wants to be with her because I'll be goddamn, Justin. You and I have been friends for almost 20 fucking years, right?
Mhm.
I'll be fucking goddamn though. If you apparently are like suspect of abducting 3 teenage girls, and you take them to me, you're like, hey man, I gotta go to Peru. Can you watch these teenagers till I get back? The fuck did you just ask of me?
No. No.
What are you doing, Ben? Are you trying to go to federal prison?
Like, what are you doing?
The last thing you need is one of those girls to be tempting to be like, hey, I'm lonely. My parents and all three of them don't have their families around, so they
Yeah.
got daddy issues probably.
And the black girl's apparently rich.
Mm-hmm.
And you tell me her rich parents, they didn't show up for a week.
None of their parents cared where they were. It was fucking nuts. No one. I mean, Isabel Merced, her character, her dad got deported, so she's living by herself.
Yeah.
Which
So like
it's just a matter of time before she gets evicted. They never addressed her story.
it's just a matter of time, but she ends up on the pole.
Well,
I
I
mean,
wouldn't go there.
let's be honest. She's what, 16, 17 years old. She doesn't have any income. That apartment is about to be she's about to get kicked out of her apartment. Her dad's been deported, so she's in the country by herself.
Mm-hmm.
She may not even have working papers. How the fuck is she gonna make money?
Yeah, because we never get an insight about how they become Spider Woman.
Yeah.
Does Cassie go back to Peru and get the spiders to bite them? Like, it's
No,
never
no.
clear how that works.
Yeah. That's just wild.
Which is insane because they all three pop up at the end, like bringing lunch together. They're like, oh, a happy little family. I mean, the ending. I've never laughed so hard in a movie in a long time. Like I laughed so hard when she was in that wheelchair with those glasses because I'm like, this is clearly supposed to be similar to her iteration in comic books. But
Yeah.
if you have no context about that, she looked fucking crazy. You're like, why is she dressed like that? Why?
With those crazy fucking glasses. Those glasses
And
are
then Professor X bootleg ass wheelchair. It's like, and the way she's moving in it.
and well, and like again, this to the performance, she looks fucking nuts because she has this
She
weird
did.
smirk on her face that when she's with those like she looks nutty. She looks so crazy. Anytime you see her, I'm just like, what is going on here?
Yeah, but we'll get to that in more depth, folks. I know we're like bouncing all around, but this movie's so egregious and it's so offensive that we kind of like are scatterbrained in a way to try to like keep it together. So Ezekiel Sims is trying to find these three young women. He has Zoshana Mamet, another Nepo baby, who's trying to hack the system, going off his descriptions from his dreams to try to find these three women, well, young girls. They're high schoolers, and they eventually kill Mike Epps in an accident in like a situation, and Cassie essentially has visions of it.
Off. It's like, they don't kill. You may say like they kill Mike Epps, makes it like the girls kill Mike Epps.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, they
dies
kill
in
him
that.
off in the movie with the incident and stuff, and she's all fucked up because she's like, I saw the vision, I didn't do anything, and so she's just depressed in her apartment.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you have Ezekiel Sims saying lines like, "Find them. I pay you a fortune," in that terrible ADR voice. And I wrote down, these writers should never work again.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I hate it so much.
Oh, but S.J. Clarkson, you should never work again either because
well, here's the thing.
Should have known better.
Well, I think that this got away from her because she's directed episodes of, House, Dexter, Succession, Ugly Betty, Heroes at one point. Like those are popping movie shows
for a while.
Yeah, but it's just like it's
they all went off the rails.
It's just I think this being her first. I think this is her first feature film, and given Sony and how fucking directionless they are, I can see the studio just like giving. This would be. I feel like this was miserable for everybody involved. If I'm being honest with you, I think Sydney Sweeney is the only one because she's actually said in interviews that like it was a good learning and networking experience for her. She's like, because I did this movie, Sony knows who I am now. Because I did this movie, I had the connections to get me to this thing. Like, and that's the way you should be thinking about it. Because she does, her character is terribly written, like thinly written. She's a very awkward, docile young woman who might be boy crazy, but like we don't really know. And her mom's in a crazy.
Yeah, her mother's in a mental asylum,
Yeah.
so she had to go with her dad who has another family, and she's like they don't really want me around. So she was gonna run away from home. She seems to be a very smart, kind of bookish kind of girl, but at
That's
the
just because she has the glasses. They give her the
exactly.
glasses, and she's just very sheepish.
Yeah, but they also allude to the fact it's like they're talking about things, and she's like very science forward. She's a very
Mm.
science forward type of person. So they built this character, but they also want us to just be like, yeah, she's not hiding them warlocks underneath this shirt at the same
Well, I
time.
mean, eventually they have a moment. They have the CPR moment, which does come into play in a really stupid way in the third act, where we
Yeah,
all, as an audience, were laughing in the theater. But when they were doing the practicing of the CPR and she's teaching them how to do it, I'm just like, you're just showing me these young women just bouncing their tits. I was like, it felt very
that pussy like that.
it felt like that movie with the sharks. Fuck. 47 meters down, the
uh,
sequel, when they
yeah.
just had the young girls just bouncing around like, oh, we're going diving. I'm
Oh
just
my
like,
God.
this is so unnecessary. But I mean, I'm not gonna skip through this scene,
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch it. Um, but yeah, so she encounters these girls when she's taking the train to go to Mike Epps' funeral service, and she has the vision of Ezekiel Sims coming through the train and basically killing all three of these girls.
Yeah.
She keeps having it. And so it's like Happy Death Day or Groundhog Day. Like you keep seeing these same scenes, but it's acted by Dakota Johnson. So it's just getting worse and worse. And at one point, she's just like to the girls, come with me if you want to live. Like, get up or you're going to die. I'm like, yeah, if you go with her, you're probably going to die too. Like, none of this is making sense. But Ezekiel Sims, as soon as she gets him off the train, he just converts into a Spider-Man outfit and starts crawling around. And I'm like, no one else sees this except for these four women.
Well, and these police officers who are just getting
Well,
brutalized.
eventually they see it because at first they run past the police officers onto the train and playing a game of peekaboo with Ezekiel Sims. I'm like, you should have just gone to that first group of cops. But
Yeah.
she had the flash that she got arrested. But I'm like, but at this point, they've now seen Spider-Man nigga crawling around coming after them. So now they have cause to be like, at least she's not fully lying. At,
Yes.
it made no sense in that moment.
Yeah.
And then she gets them, mind you, apparently they imply that the MTA stations have back alley stairways that you can walk through. Because they came up some like back alley like stairs on one of the station platforms. I'm like, since when? They don't let regular people back there.
No, no.
Also, I've never seen a stairway that leads like from down, like you go down and then you're on a platform, but it's like behind, it's like the project. It's like if you went down a project stairway and you ended up on like the fucking Fulton Street station in the A train. Like it was insane.
Mm, you know what? Over down by like the meatpacking district, like or when you get off the L train, when you get off the L train, if you go to the furthest part of the platform, the
Okay.
first part of the platform, there are stairs that go from up there and they go directly up to the street.
Mm,
And
okay.
it bypasses the platform, the upper level platform. So technically there is another, like there's a weird staircase that kind of lets you out at a certain place. But I don't like I only know that because I worked there, off
Got
that
it.
stop. So sometimes I would take that because like that was closer to the street where I could just go right out.
Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah. So technically, yes and no. But like it's a very like that's a deep cut that nobody would nobody would pick up.
No, no, not at all. Okay. I mean, that's one thing
But
that's,
regardless. Yeah,
yeah, it's
regardless.
still
Doesn't
stupid.
matter.
It's still stupid. And there, you know what's frustrating too is that there was like moments where you can tell the script is trying to be cheeky and funny and have a little bit of fun and not take it so seriously. But Dakota Johnson's like deadpan and also her not taking it so seriously ruins the comedy. Like when they had that one guy who was like, "Is this going to a New Rochelle or whatever?" And she's like, I don't know. Or like she tells him like, I don't
Right.
think so. Or you better hope not. And he leaves. And then she's on the other train when she's trying to get the girls out. He's like, hey, am I on the right train? She's like, I don't know. But I'm like, in a better actress's hands, yes, the script is shitty, but that could have at least been better delivered.
Yeah.
And actually made me laugh versus being like, man, she's really not trying.
No,
Then
it really makes her come across as a dick.
she's such an asshole in this movie. And then she steals some poor guy's taxi with these girls. And it seems like she's losing her mind. She's
Yeah.
like, what are your names? What are your names? Like, and what's making it worse, she makes it worse. Like, it became a thing where I'm like, okay, this is unintentionally funny, but also they're trying to address that it maybe is funny, but also creepy. And this tone is just all off
Yeah.
because between her throwing out, like making them throw out their cell phones,
Mm.
locking them in the car because she's like, you can leave if you want to. Black girl tries to leave. She's like, nope, and never mind, actually, because you all need to exonerate me. Because now they basically have her as the kidnapper of these three women.
Yep.
And then she's like, this is not a kidnapping, though. And I was like, okay, there's a world where this is really fucking funny. But the way that everyone's playing it is fucking. This is a this is a big budget Lifetime movie right now.
Yeah.
Where it's like Lost and Gone, Lost Forever. This tale of the three New York girls, like not good. And considering they all three like don't have family that really checks in on them, it's very convenient that these would be the. Also, how convenient is it that Ezekiel Sims is looking for these three women, who in the future they do not say, "Hey, we're from New York" or whatever the fuck. All three of them are in New York City
Yes.
at the same time.
Yes. All around the same age.
So insane. You're
One
right.
white, one Hispanic, one black.
That's a good Neapolitan ice cream serving right there, baby.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm. They should just made it around about these three girls.
Yeah,
That would have
yeah.
been way more interesting. I would have liked just seen a movie with Ezekiel Sims trying to track down these three girls and he's just stalking them. And they have to figure out, like, they have to get their powers and figure out how to come together to fight this dude because they're not powerful enough to do it by themselves.
So then there's also the fact that it's like, and how convenient is it that like Cassie Webb, gets her powers basically a few days before all this shit goes down.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because Ezekiel's like, it's almost like they knew I was coming.
Yeah.
What is happening? I'm like, can they just don't give him any more dialogue? Don't do any, no more voiceovers, please. Because they keep showing the back of his head while he's talking to other characters because it's all ADR, folks.
Yeah.
And I guess this actor is he Tahar Rahim? He's a French actor, so he definitely has an accent. And maybe it was just too much for them to discern what he was saying. Like, that's casting.
So
why would you cast him if like he's unintelligible?
First of all, Brandon, we're not going to blame it on him because he won the Caesar Award for Best Actor and Most Promising Actor.
No. That's dude. That's that's not. I wouldn't put that on him. This is a terrible performance, and it's a terrible. But
that the villain that they created was very one dimensional and stupid.
But this is the thing, folks, with this industry that I'm learning more and more about. Missteps like this can ruin your career.
Oh, 100%.
Because he had like he has these awards that he got from a prophet, which I believe I saw years ago, and it was actually really good. But yeah, this is a career ender right here. This kind of movie and this kind of performance, absolutely. And if it's something where his people were kind of like, "Hey, you should definitely do this," the director likes you, the studio likes you, blah blah blah. You should do this. And that's one thing that a lot of people like have revisionist history about Entourage because it was critically acclaimed when it came out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yes, it's very bro-y, but a lot of people in the industry like this is pretty accurate. There's that moment where Vince is kind of giving an ultimatum about Aquaman. It's like either you do Aquaman or you find different representation. That's what Ari tells him.
Yeah.
So I can see a world where like some of these people are told like you kind of got to do this movie.
Well, because it's also like when you, if somebody is under the guise that this is Marvel and it's Marvel money,
Mm.
of course your agent is like, yeah, do that. Yeah, you're doing this. Yeah, they want you because that's a huge cash out. Now, did they see that they have foresight that this to know that this was gonna be one of the most like shit upon fucking films of the year 2023? Oh, sorry, this
No,
2024.
this year.
Yeah, this was God.
We knew late last year though when that first trailer dropped that this
Yeah,
was going to be terrible.
yeah, it was gonna be bad. But still, like probably if they had foresight to know, it's like, oh yeah, this is gonna be good, they wouldn't have done it. But like, yeah, I know I see what you're saying though.
Like like I said, like I'm giving him shit for this performance and this movie, but I also I think this is just a bunch of terrible decisions that just created a money pit
Yeah,
to
and also
disastrous results.
he's actually not French; he's Algerian. He's Algerian. He was born in France, but he's Algerian.
But he does French movies. That's why it said French
Yeah,
actors.
I know, but I'm saying, he's Algerian. Um, all right. I don't even. Okay, let's. Can we just talk about the fact that she dropped them off in the middle of the woods
And left them
and
immediately.
she said, "Stay here in the woods
Don't do
at
anything
night,
stupid.
at night. No food.
Nope.
Just stand here in the middle of the woods." Like, why wouldn't if I'm just like, hey, I need you guys to hide out. I need you guys to hide out. I need you guys to stay put. I need to go. I need to run. I need to run out, do some shit. Like, I need to figure some shit out. I'm gonna go get you some food. I need you guys to stay here. I would have went to a fucking Walmart. Guys, stay in the car. Keep your head low. Do not get out of the car. Is just like I'm telling you that like you need to be careful. I would got the fucking tents, sleeping bags, fucking blankets. It's like I just need you guys to camp out here for the time being while I figure some shit out. I will be back. I promise you, I will be back. It's like, but I'm gonna get you food. I'm going to get you shelter. I'm gonna make sure you're taken care of. I'm not going to just leave you standing in the fucking woods.
Mind you, these are, and I hate to say this, but they're not like scantily clad, but Sydney Sweeney's in a schoolgirl outfit. You got what's her name? Celeste O'Connor. She's showing midriff. Is Isabel is the most conservative looking like dressed one, but they're all attractive young women.
Sydney
That
Sweeney, she's very conservatively dressed,
yeah.
but at the same time, it's just like, yeah, she's wearing a skirt like a Catholic schoolgirl skirt, which is not like like when I went to Catholic school, they roll that shit up to show off them gams. No, 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 no. She's wearing like the right way, but like, yeah, they are not prepared to be standing in the woods.
No.
In the middle of the fucking night. Think about the mosquitoes just eating their ass alive.
Not even mosquitoes, just a creepy wanderer. Like, oh, what's up, you ladies? Like, they're not gonna be able to fight a homeless man.
Well, happy day.
So, okay, because we have a lot to get to now. Because this is where it hits the ground running in like the most batshit crazy way. So Cassie goes back to her house to do some research. She has this weird moment where she thinks that maybe she can crawl on the walls, and she has this sad moment where she fails and tries, and it's just very awkward because at the same time, it's like there's no sense of urgency.
Mm-hmm.
You have these three teenagers that are just hanging out in the woods, like you said, Justin, and she's just like reading a book, like, spider people, and then they have that terrible song that like from the early 2000s or whatever, like scandalous. Dun, 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 dun. I forgot what it was called, but I just remember it was played in the Catwoman trailer with Halle Berry, and I knew it was going to be a terrible movie. So then they immediately leave. They're like, hey, we got to get some food. So they wander off to this diner where they're just ordering plates of food. Mind you, I'm like, in what world? In what world would any establishment let three teenage girls just show up like this and they're ordering all this food?
Yeah.
I would be like, you gotta give me some money up front.
I mean,
It's not legal, but you gotta be like, hey, you got a credit card or something you gonna put down?
I don't know, man. You just when somebody comes in and they start ordering food, be like, oh, these people are hungry. They're not gonna ask somebody that's like, hey, you're gonna have to put down some collateral. Hey, give me your watch. No, that's not for food, nigga.
I guess don't come to my restaurant if you're looking for a handout. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
Oh,
if you're looking for a full meal, Brandon's not gonna be the guy. Order
mind you,
fries.
everyone's looking for these three girls now, and so there's a alert out for the police department. Ezekiel Sims learns that there's an alert out in Cherry Hill that says that they think they spot these three women. He then is like, all right, I'm gonna go there. Like, and he tells his hacker, like, punch me into the Cherry Hill Police Department. And he pretends to be a police officer and says, hey, stand down. These aren't the girls we're looking for. But I'm like, that's so stupid. Why wouldn't you wait for the police to go pick them up, bring them into custody, and bring them back to the city where you currently are? And you've already fought cops at the train station. Like, so clearly you have no issues doing that. Just fucking kill them when they're in police custody.
Okay, so they're in
Because he
Cherry.
now is driving all the way up to Cherry Hill. We don't know how fucking far that is.
Oh, I do. I know how far Cherry Hill is.
How far is it?
That's a 3-hour drive.
There we go.
So, but
wait, so Cassie drove 6 hours? What?
Thank you. That's nuts.
What?
So she drove from New York City to Cherry Hill. Let's say she's burning fucking rubber and she gets all the way down there really fast. Okay, let's give her
But
that.
she's not, though, because she's currently wanted.
2.5. Let's give her 2.5 hours.
Okay.
Right?
Sure.
So she drove 2.5 hours from New York City and then drove 2.5 hours back. So that's 5 hours right there. And then she drives 2.5 hours back. So now we're talking about 7.5 hours on the road, right? 7.5 hours on the road. And she, again, she gets there just in time. Mm-hmm. And in that time, apparently she left around the same time that he left, right? Now, mind you, Brandon,
that time it doesn't make any sense either.
It doesn't make any sense because also the dude who saw them come into the restaurant when they started dancing with those guys or whatever.
And no one was dancing on tables even in the early 2000s. This is in 1952.
And also the waitress should have got them off that fucking table.
Yep. Real quick.
Now, when that and also why is that football team there that long? You know what I'm saying? So regardless, when that guy saw them on the paper, he's reading the paper, he saw them on the paper, and then he calls it in, right?
Mind you, that's the paper for a story earlier that day. What print press prints that quickly? That's insane.
Yep. We're talking in the early, so this is early 2000s.
Yes. Because there's a big toxic Britney Spears moment.
So this is the early 2000s. You're saying that this thing happened roughly 3.5, let's say 4 to 5 hours ago. Oh no, 4 hours. No.
Yeah.
No, because the dude would have had to have gotten there and back. Okay, so this happened like 6 hours ago, and it's already on the front of a newspaper in Cherry Hill, a place where this didn't even happen.
Yep.
Now, Cherry Hill is between New Jersey and Pennsylvania. So it's like right there, right? It's like right outside of Atlantic City. So you're telling me, New Jersey is like, pick up that story from New York that has no consequence to our space and put it on the front page. How? Why? Explain that to me.
For the plot, Justin. It's all for the plot. Now, what ends up happening is Cassie goes back to the camps where she dropped them girls off in the woods. She realizes they're not there. and then she wanders through the woods, seemingly and finds the diner. Right now, when the girls started walking there to when they arrived at the diner, nightfall has pretty much happened. So it seems at the very least, it's them 15 minutes to walk there, right? From where they were in the woods to the diner. Cassie eventually gets to the diner, right? And as soon as she gets there, like she, scornfully looks at them. They get off the table sheepishly, and then Ezekiel shows up in his green Spider-Man outfit and a wreck shop. Only cool scene in the movie where he actually snaps a homegirl's neck and the death, he kills everybody, right? Then Cassie snaps back out. She's back at the campsite, and the song "Toxic," which was playing when he killed the girls in the diner, is playing. Right? We're on the same page there, right?
Hmm.
She then gets. Remember, folks, she got there before Ezekiel did. She then gets in the car and speeds to the diner because now she knows where to go. She speeds to the diner and somehow gets there after Ezekiel, where she crashes into him in the car. What? What's the point of knowing the future if that's not how it plays out?
Mm-hmm.
That's insane. She got there faster than she did in the first iteration, and she was late. Made no goddamn sense.
Unless she just formulated the plan. I'm gonna let this motherfucker go in, and I'm just gonna hit him with the car. But
she's speeding through this. It didn't make any sense. And also, it was the length of the song, which is like 3 minutes. Like nothing about this movie, timing wise, made any damn sense.
Yeah.
But she crashes into him, and then she gets the girls to like jump in the taxi with her, and then they drive off, and they go to a motel, and that's where Cassie tries to bond with them, where she talks about the foster system. She's like, foster system isn't so terrible, you know.
Look at me.
Look at me. And I'm like, you are literally the worst example right now. You are a fugitive harboring young children. Like, this is not good.
As far as like that's what they're probably looking at her as.
It does not look good for her.
Yeah.
Like, it's just when she did the CPR lesson, and then Celeste O'Connor's like, I've never said this in my entire life, but you're a good teacher. I'm like, who wrote this? Like, who would write that line? And who could deliver that line in an authentic way?
And then Brandon, the girls are all sleeping, and then she's just like, it seemed like she was gonna leave them, right?
Oh yeah.
Like she was just gonna straight up leave them.
Yes.
And then she comes up with the idea, is like, all right, I need to go to Peru.
Mind you, before this, she has like this weird mind Kylo Ren Ray situation where they talk to each other, and I'm like, wait, he's powerful enough to get in her mind? Question mark. None of this stuff made sense. They were just making shit as they go, like Morbius. Remember that moment where he just touches his hands in the wind at the train station? He's like, I fly. Yeah. The logic was, there was nothing here.
And this flying was just like this.
And I think at this point, this is when everyone gave up. I think this is the point of the movie where everyone's just like, let's just get through this fucking shoot, guys. Like, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Because no one had any energy going forward. No one cared. It all falls apart. She leaves the girls with Adam Scott's Ben character. He's just like, yeah, like, I got it, but like, do you know what you're doing? I'm like, she clearly doesn't. No offense to paramedics. How the fuck? Well, first of all, she's a fugitive. They know who she is now.
Yep.
How the fuck is she able to travel internationally?
Yes.
But also be able to afford such a trip internationally on a paramedic salary?
Yo, you know it, baby.
Is she personally going to pay for all the Pepsi advertisements she was doing throughout the movie? Because she kept fucking holding the Pepsi cans all weird. Like, I was just like, for real? For real, Sony?
Yeah, man, this is like egregiously bad. But that's why, like, this film is just like, you guys just don't give a fuck. You guys don't give a fuck.
Yeah, and that Cassie reunion scene. So when she goes back to the Peru side where she was born and stuff, and the dude from Narcos Mexico like gives her an overview of the spider powers and shit, and how Ezekiel's been cast out because he abused the power to ran off with the power of the spider and blah blah. So he's cursed for all eternity. I'm like, does Ezekiel know that? Because
He's
okay,
doing okay.
yeah. And that scene between Cass and her mom meeting in the celestial plane or whatever the fuck that's supposed to be, um, people were howling in the movie theater because it's badly acted and it's so terrible. It's so terribly executed that people were just like, I can't believe they're still going. Like I would have just cut the credits a while back.
Brandon, she literally said, she's like, oh my God, so you went to Peru to save me? Is that what you did? You went to Peru and saved me? I don't have any of these.
Oh yeah, because she was sick, right?
Yeah, because she was the fetus was sick and she had some neuro a neural disease, something like that. It's just like, so you went to save me? I thought that you were just down there because you didn't care. You do care. I'm gonna hug you, mother. And that was so fucking stupid.
Yep.
That was so stupid. I'm just like, what the hell is going on in this film?
Absolutely dog shit. Which is probably why, because Sony reportedly had plans for either Andrew Garfield or Tom Holland to appear as Spider-Man in this movie, but ultimately cut all references to Spider-Man from the final film. And I think this is where I do have faith in whatever direction they go for Spider-Man 4, because Tom Holland being directly involved now, I think is very protective of what they're doing, because he's the reason why they came back together to do
Yeah,
No Way Home.
yeah,
Like what
because they were just he was just like, I will not continue.
like I think he was going to fight it tooth and nail. I think he was going to make it, and he would make it very. If he was contractually obligated to do the third one with just Sony in control, I think he would have made their lives a living hell by being like press conferences, like, "Yep, this ain't the movie I wanted to do. Sony shit the bed." Like, so I hope that he keeps utilizing that because Sony clearly outside of Lord and Miller should not be touching Spider-Man properties. They should stay far, far away from this shit because it didn't make it like the guy like who's telling her about like, Cassie about her powers. He seems to have Doctor Strange esque powers with the spirit realms and shit. I was like, what is going on? Um,
Oh yeah, yeah, kind
you
of
know what
like
I mean?
I forgot. Oh my God, Tilda Swinton's character.
Yeah, yeah, the one or
Yeah,
whatever her name was.
yeah.
And so for me, I'm just like, okay, this doesn't make none of this is making any sense. But then we get to somehow Cassie's able to get back to America in New York around
Mhm.
a time where Mary Parker is now gone to labor.
Yep.
Ben's making all the girls go with them to try to go to the hospital deliver.
Why did they
Um,
stay home? Go ahead.
yep. Also, I wrote down why isn't Mary freaking out about all these teenage girls being at her house?
Yeah.
Be like,
Hey Ben, you just showed up with three teenage girls, and they're kind of sort of flirting with you.
yeah,
Well, actually, no, no, no. That wasn't that that was he's the brother of her of 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 Peter's father.
Peter's. mm, I couldn't really. Was it Peter's father that's never around, or was
Yeah,
it Peter's mom?
I'm not
I thought
sure.
Mary and him were brothers and sister.
I,
Who
it
gives a fuck? It doesn't matter. None of it matters anymore. None
yeah,
of it ever mattered, to be honest with you.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, so Ezekiel attacks them on their way to the hospital.
Wait,
That's
hold
when
on.
Cassie.
One more thing.
Yeah,
Uh, with that scene, she's like, "I'm
which
going."
one?
No, no. When she starts to go into labor, where
Oh yeah,
Emma just gonna really, she's like, "Oh my God, my water just broke." It's just like this baby's coming now. He's like, "No, no, it's not coming down now. It's coming when Frank or whoever the fuck Peter's dad's name is when he gets here and da 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 da." It's just like, "No, the baby's coming now." It's almost just like he's like, "There's no way I'm going to the hospital with you to deliver this to get this child delivered. First of all, you're a paramedic. He should be able to deliver that child right there."
he keeps saying he's not a real doctor. He says that constantly to Cassie after she's almost died. He's like, you need to go to the hospital where you see a real doctor. Like he keeps downplaying his skills. It's a very easy out to be like, if someone dies on my watch, I'm not a real doctor,
Now,
baby.
mind you, I believe that they also mentioned earlier on in the film that he was in the military.
Mm.
prior to this. So if he was in the military and like, listen, I know how these things work in these film. Everybody who's in the military is an active duty military, probably combat, because that's the movies are not going to be like, yeah, I mean, I kind of had a desk job. So if he was in the military and he's working as a paramedic now, the fact that he went into became an EMT would tell me that he was probably a medic in the military,
Mhm.
right? Because if he was in the military and he was doing his thing, whatever, he probably would have went into the police, route, coming out of the military, because that's, it's kind of, kind of a straight line. So if he was a medic in the military, and as all films show, if you're in the military, you saw active duty and you saw some shit, that means that he is fully adept to be able to take care of a lot of things, because you don't have a doctor, to just patch somebody up. You have to do whatever you got to do to keep this person alive.
Yep.
Either way, as an EMT, he would be able to deliver that baby. But
Deliver that baby.
even so, the fact that he was reluctant to go to the hospital with her and all this, or like he's surprised that this baby's coming, is nuts.
Yeah,
It's
and so
fucking nuts.
nothing was consistent. Nothing made sense. I mean,
Why was
Cassie
he
being
living
able,
there in the first place? Why was he there in the first place?
yeah, I mean, Ben seemed like he might be homeless. Um,
Yeah.
between the beard and the way Adam Scott was kind of like, I want to say like Weasley, but he was weird. It was a weird.
Now let's say is like, hey, the father's out of town. He's about like, hey, can you hang by here just in case something happens, so she's not
But
alone?
he's been there for weeks.
Yeah, no, but that's the thing. If Peter's father, because yes, this is Spider-Man's father, that's away. That's Spider-Man's mother, guys. If you're not following, because this shit is, and it's easy not to follow this movie. But if he's away for, so he said like he was in I forgot Macau or something like
He
that.
had to say he was away for work and stuff.
Yeah, so he's been away. He's been away for a while, right? And it seems seemingly like he's bouncing around to all these different places. If that's the case, he's like, "Hey, can you kind of hang out? When you come out, when you're done being an EMT working a 12-hour shift, come home and just stay at the house, to take care of her, because I just don't feel comfortable with her being this pregnant and home alone, for such a extended period of time." That makes total sense. But if that's the case, why is he so surprised that she's going into labor at the time that she is? Because seemingly she's probably at least 7.5 to 8 months pregnant.
Yeah.
So she's definitely in the final trimester. He knows what's like. It's just, I'm just like, why is he acting like this? Why?
Well, it's the writing, it's the direction. Like, Adam Scott did what Adam Scott was supposed to do, but it's not good. I mean, the whole final action sequence is stupid because Cassie times her crashing. She's in an ambulance at this point, right?
Yep.
When she crashes into Ezekiel from like some fucking it's almost like they're in like Times Square, but they're actually supposed to be in Long Island City near the Pepsi Cola stand sign. Again, another Pepsi fucking advertisement. And crashes into him. The girls and her rush up to the Pepsi Cola sign. There's a huge, he's just raining hellfire on them. And then Cassie at some point gets the strength to be able to hold up like pieces of concrete like a shield. I'm like, do you know, right? Am I wrong in like what she was holding up? That's a concrete, right?
No.
Or at least part of the sign. No matter what, it's heavy as fuck.
No, she wasn't holding that up.
She was holding something up like a fucking shield when she was like, they were blasting at it.
Oh no. Okay, hold on. So apparently, where they were in was like a fireworks factory. So all of those projectiles flying around was because they, a fire started in this place, and then now the fireworks are shooting off, and every, and all this. Like, it was very confusing. I could see how you got misled by this, but it seemed like it was actually a garbage can lid.
No, it was bigger than that. It was more than that.
No, I think that was a garbage can lid that she was holding up and blocking herself with.
That makes it even stupider. But like that whole part was stupid. And then Ezekiel essentially gets caught up in the metal of the sign, and then he falls to his death. But not before Cassie gets off the biggest rear. She's like, "You were worried about these girls in your future, but I'm your future," or some shit like that, and he dies.
Yeah, it was me.
But then, like, so then Cassie, she gets they get blown up, right?
What do you mean?
Because she uses her powers to kind of help the girls in like her weird spiritual realm thing, and she helps them get to safety. And then fireworks go off in her face, and she's all fucking. So that's why she is a blind, in the hospital.
Well, no, Brandon. She falls into the water, and a firework shoots through the water and hits her right in the face, but doesn't. It basically makes her blind, but it doesn't just completely destroy her face. She really doesn't have any facial damage or damage to her bone structure. It's just the fact that she just can't see no more.
Yeah.
This movie sucks.
Yeah. I mean, and then we cut to, I guess, a few weeks later or something. Again, mind you, none of the girls' situations have seemingly gotten resolved. They're
Nope.
probably all still living at home by themselves.
Mm-hmm. No, they're living with her now.
They're not living with her.
Yes, they are.
No.
Brandon, I'm
pretty. No. They were coming by to visit to have dinner together.
Brandon,
No, they're not living with her.
She is now their caregiver. They are living with her.
No, they're not.
Brandon, I'm telling you.
No, they're not. She's now running a Spider Woman orphanage. There's no way.
Brandon, I'm telling you right now, because you remember when she was like, hey, it's like, hey, family, only family. She goes, they're mine. They're all mine. She said,
I think they're all living with her.
Yes. Yeah. They're living with her now. And I hope you know right now, I am trying to pull up that scene in Madam Web so I could see exactly what the fuck she was holding. Because
when she turned around that chair and then she just looks so crazy, and then she's like, I can see better than I ever have. I was like,
that was a while.
Did they film this all in 30 minutes?
Like, the other thing about this film is there are so many wild line reads. Yes. There are a lot of really like when you hear them kind of come out of their mouth, you're just like,
oh yeah, for sure.
What the fuck was that? What was that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why this movie has a 12% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes. It's the worst reviewed.
That's too high.
It's the worst reviewed Marvel movie since Fantastic Four that came out in 2015, which had 9%. And I actually would probably rank that a little bit higher than this, just because that was at least going for something. This, I have no idea why this is made, other than like Sony trying to do a cash grab. Now, one thing about so a few real quick trivia points about Dakota Johnson before we get to our rating system on this movie. According to Dakota Johnson, in an interview with The Wrap, the screenplay underwent extensive rewrites, saying there were drastic changes and I can't even tell you what they were. The original screenplay, which was described as darker and very Terminator inspired, would have seen Madam Web and the Spider-Woman trying to protect a pregnant Mary Parker from a time-traveling Ezekiel Sims who wants to kill her to prevent the birth of Peter Parker. Makes a lot more sense. Johnson further said that the film she shot was unrecognizable from the version of the script she signed on to make. Got it. So they were like, we got to take out all Spider-Man references.
Yeah.
That makes sense as to why they ran and we were like, it's the Spider-Woman that he's trying to kill.
Yeah. because that doesn't make any sense.
No, and they clearly didn't think. Sony clearly was just like, just change different shit. We don't care on a deeper level about if it makes sense actually.
Yeah.
Dakota Johnson left her agency, WME, in favor of CAA less than a week after the first trailer for this movie dropped. According to Variety, this raised industry eyebrows and generated unfounded rumors that Johnson didn't like the movie, especially after she made fun of it while hosting Saturday Night Live. However, the Hollywood Reporter found that since CAA was also willing to represent her production company, Tea Time Pictures, along with her indie film Daddy-O, it is likely the seemingly suspicious timing for the movie was nothing more than business shuffling, film business shuffling. Sure.
Okay, hold on. Brandon, you are correct. So a part of the building of the roof was knocked off with like the I pulled up that scene. A part of the roof was knocked off when the fireworks come off, and it went into the wall. She then pulled that piece, that shard of roof and whatever, out of the wall. It kind of looked like a garbage can, and she's using that to fend off all of the fucking projectiles flying at them.
Got it. So it was a heavy piece of
Yes.
concrete. Okay.
Yes. Which also, because the fact is that the projectile actually blew up the ground, wouldn't that have just gone right through that and just, probably made that thing explode? Just saying.
Je ne sais.
What the fuck?
But we did get one Patriot thought on Madam Web. And folks, remember, if you sign up for Patreon at patreon.com/media and popcorn, you're guaranteed to have your thoughts and reviews of the upcoming movies we talk about read on those episodes. And JBJR wrote just trash emoji.
Mm-hmm.
So that leads us straight into our rating system, baby. So Justin, break it down.
Guys, first of all, Brandon, stop calling me baby.
I didn't call you baby. I just said
no,
baby.
No. I know what you were doing. So guys, you know how we do this. We rate movies, bags of popcorn, small, medium, large, and the XL40 exceptional. If a film doesn't deserve any hot, fresh popcorn, we throw it into the stale popcorn pile where we pile piles and piles of stale popcorn on top of it. So Brandon, we sat down and we watched the 2024 pieces of garbage called Madam Web, starring Dakota Johnson, Sydney Sweeney, Isabella Merced, Celeste O'Connor, Mike Epps, Emma Roberts, and Adam Scott. I'm not even gonna bring in the guy who played the villain because he doesn't want his name associated with this anymore. What say you, sir?
Yeah, this is 116 minutes. This is 116 piles of stale popcorn. This is not good. This is one of the worst superhero movies I've ever seen. I think everyone's embarrassed by it, except for Dakota Johnson, because I can see her not thinking that this is a lot of it is her fault. I mean, I think it's just a bunch of bad decisions, but she's number one on the call sheet, and she was terrible in this. And there's nothing redeeming about this movie. The only thing that actually was slightly enjoyable was one, the death scenes and the ending, because it's so fucking crazy. Again, if you know nothing about Madam Web, if you're just going into this, like, I guess this might be, I heard this might be a Spider-Man movie or whatever, and you go from Dakota Johnson's characterization, her outfits, her behavior throughout the whole movie, and you just watch that last 2 minutes, you're like, what the fuck happened? It's one thing to go blind, but it's another, she's just a completely different person. She's all creepy, like she's like doing the weird smile you were talking about. She's like, I see better than I ever had. I'm like, there's no way that the state would let these children live with her.
First of all, Brandon, all right. Let me just rate this thing. Because this movie had a $80 million to $100 million budget. Box office, it pulled in $100.3 million. I'm gonna give this 100 million piles of stale popcorn, because this is probably one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. And for all the reasons that we said in this episode, I don't even have to go back and tell you why, because you should know why, especially if you watch this. Even if you didn't watch this, you listen to this episode, you know everything you need to know. Don't even bother. But I think the thing that really made me laugh is right at the end. is when they showed all the three girls in their Spider
Oh
Girl,
God, yeah.
and then Dakota Johnson hovering above them in in like her Madam Web outfit,
Yeah.
and it looked nuts. So it looked so
Yeah.
nuts. I was just like, oh my god, why did they do that? They just made it worse. I didn't think it could happen, but they made it worse.
They did. They did. Now, I do want to say, like, we obviously had some real frustrations with this movie, a lot of frustrations with the performances, but if I look at what people have in their filmographies coming up, right? I would say Isabel Merced, she's going to be okay. She's doing The Last of Us season 2. She's also going to be in the new Superman movie with James Gunn. She's got some things. Sydney Sweeney, obviously, is up and coming. She's got a bunch of stuff on her docket. Celeste O'Connor, like, please, like, if you're a Hollywood decision maker, give her another opportunity. Like, I would hate to see this young Black woman like lose out on shit because of this really, really fucking terrible movie.
Yeah, not her fault.
I mean, but she's also been in she was in Ghostbusters, Afterlife, Frozen Empire. Like, hasn't been great, but I'm hoping that she gets better opportunities because I do think there's some promise there. I just would hate for her to get, because there's always collateral damage to this stuff, right? Like, and I would just hate for her to like be the one girl out of all the Spider Woman that's cut out of this shit, being able to rebuild from this.
And also Tahara Rahim. I mean,
but that's because of the ADR and stuff like that. For me, that's like even the voice was an issue. Like his presence and everything like that was already weird. Like just his screen presence and vibe. And so the fact that even the voice wasn't good, like I'm like, ooh,
yeah,
it's just not a good look at all for him. Like,
yeah,
it's not good. Maybe he gets more opportunities, but like he should probably just go back to making French films for a while. To be honest with you, especially if it was the accent, if that was an issue and that's why they ADR'd him the way they did, very bizarre.
Yeah, man, working with your Rosetta Stone.
Yeah, I guess. Be like Tommy Wiseau trying to audition to be an American.
I'm an all-American man.
I listened to him on Howard Stern recently, like this old episode he did with like James Franco before all the bullshit happened and stuff like that. And Tommy was like, Howard Stern's like, Tommy, where are you from? And Tommy's like, oh, I'm gonna buy you. And he's like, I've never heard any. I was like, I've been to New Orleans several times. I've never heard anyone talk like you. I was like, man, if Howard Stern can't even get him to tell him where he's from, we're never going to know.
Then, well, that means that motherfucker's probably on the lam.
Maybe.
It's probably some dark shit in his past.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, he's got millions of dollars for a reason to make that crazy ass movie.
He's
he's in some shady shit for sure.
Wild shit. Also, kind of like off the reservation here, but I listened to the Terrence Howard thing that you sent me. Terrence Howard, Joe Rogan. I gotta say that Terrence Howard, Cat Williams, two of the smartest niggas who just decide, you know what, screw all of this God-given, and to what they say, this God-given talent and extra like enhanced intelligence that I have acquired. I'm gonna go be like one of the most hated people in Hollywood because he sounds nuts.
Oh yeah. I just had to stop listening to it.
He sounds.
After 40 minutes, I'm like, he's still going. Like he's just talking madness.
He sounds nuts. And honestly, Brandon, I've been meaning to say this to you. Like, I hope that he really is that smart. He really is onto something.
That's what a lot of people are saying. They're like, either he's having a schizophrenic break or he's just one of the smartest people alive.
Yeah, I'm hoping that he does something great to prove himself to the world. Because if not, that's a fall. That's a hell of a fall.
Yeah, well, he saw the fucking things aligning when he got to do the Empire thing, but he didn't see that aligning when Robert Downey Jr. and John Favreau were like, "We gotta get this nigga up Iron Man too."
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah,
He didn't see the shapes then. But
he was just like, yeah, Robert said to me, it all worked out for you, see, because he got Empire. So like, yeah, Robert's just like, yeah, bro, whatever he was doing on set was an issue, and he doesn't see that.
yeah, I mean,
I know this
stuff.
isn't about that, but like for some reason it jumped to my.
Technically, it was all connected to Marvel stuff.
True.
You know, yeah. But folks, let us know what you thought of this episode. You can hit up the show on all social media platforms of BDMP Podcast, and you can hit me up directly at Frodo_Blackens on Instagram and Threads. Drunk Black History on Wednesday, June 19th. Come hang out with us in Brooklyn at Littlefield. Get tickets at drunkblackhistory.com. And Justin, if you want to follow you as well, support this show financially, what can they do, my brother?
Guys, you can follow me at J Brown Did It on the socials. But if you want to support this show, you want to make this show better, why don't you take yourselves over to patreon.com/medium popcorn. We have $5, $10, and $15 packages. Our entire backlog is on Patreon. We got bonus episodes. We have a lot of content on Patreon. So if you love this show and you want to see it grow to even greater heights, you need to go to patreon.com and check us out.
That's right. And the money is tight, just leave us a 5-star review in your favorite podcast application. We will read it on the show. Even Spotify, if you respond to some stuff over there, we'll occasionally read it on the show as well. So anything helps the show get some visibility. But again, patreon.com/medium popcorn. Help us, please.
Baby.
We got to make some things happen this year. Come on. All right, y'all. Talk to y'all soon.
Peace.
Medium popcorn. We are two niggas spoiling movies. Yeah. Brandon Collins, that's me. And Justin Brown for your movie needs. Medium popcorn. Woo! You haven't seen it, well, we're gonna spoil it. Spoil it in your face. That's your warning. So if you get pissed, it's all your fault.